So the another topic, that is the Marsquake. This is related to the geography. What is the context here? The context here is, you can see that NASA recently reported that is one of the lander it has sent previously, the InSight Mars lander, that is called as. They detected the largest quake observed on another planet. Okay, and what is this? The specific quake that is detected here. Now, first see what is the name of NASA here. NASA is the National the definition abbreviation for this National Aeronautics and Space Administration. And as we know, in India we have a space research agency that is called as ISRO, right? Indian Space Research Organization. So that is India's. Likewise, in US, there the space agency is NASA, and this institution is responsible for everything related to the space. Okay, civilian space program. Okay, clear. So that is the agency called as NASA. The next thing is, what is InSight? What is this InSight Mars lander? The first, what you need to know, what does it mean by lander? Lander is something, a spacecraft, right? Spacecraft means which can fly through the atmosphere in the air, and it can, lander means it can safely land on the given surface. It can land on the given surface. But lander is the name specifically used that any spacecraft designed to land on the surface of any other planet other than India, all of them are called as, generally named as lander, right? So something, a spacecraft launched from the Indian, the Earth surface and gone to the upper layers of the atmosphere, and in the space again going into the atmosphere of the other planet, and then down, decelerating and maybe falling, finally slowing down and maybe reaching a safely landing on the surface of the other planet. And that specific design or maybe spacecraft is specifically called as a lander. So lander always have, you can see that wheels, not wheels, like the resting points, right? So, and there is a mechanism, by using different mechanism, they do control the speed when it is finally landing from the space onto the surface of another planet. Okay, that is called as a lander. Lander, as the name says, it is not flexible, it can't move, it can only fix only in a particular place wherever it is landed. Okay, so this type of lander, a lander was launched by the NASA on the planet called as Mars, So that lander name they called as InSight Mars lander. And when they launched it in 2017. Finally, the 2018, finally it was landed in the November 2018. So this is something we're talking about, landing. Okay, so on this specific in this month, it was landed on the Mars surface. Next, what is the purpose? Why it was launched? The purpose here is, first we'll see what does it mean by seismometer. Seismometer is an instrument which is used to record the motions that are happening inside the ground, inside the earth, right? Inside the earth surface, inside any surface. So compared to the surface, in the down layers, any the movements or motions that are happening inside the earth, to record those disturbances, right? Any movement will create disturbance. To record those disturbance, there is an instrument that is called a seismometer. Okay, and seismometer, as we all know, this will record the intensity or maybe magnitude of the particular disturbance. Okay, so that means they are detecting any of the disturbance, it reaches to the surface of the given planet, the surface of any given planet, then that is called as a quake, right? So that quake, if it is occurred in the earth crust below the earth surface layers, then we can call it as earthquake. And if the same, the quake occurred in, sorry, it's not earth crust, it is Mars crust. And if the same, the quake occurs in the Mars crust, that means Mars surface, below layers of the Mars surface, then you call it as a Marsquake. Okay, so a quake occurred in the crust of the Mars is called as a Marsquake. And this specifically, this InSight land rover is InSight lander is specifically fitted with this, one of the seismometer, which it It wants to record the disturbances inside the Mars, the Mars crust. And by recording those disturbances, the NASA wants to study what Mars is made up of. That means crust material composition, right? And how the material is layered one upon another, different materials, how they are layered, and how heat is seeps out of it. The From the lower layers of the given crust, earth, which is trapped too much of heat, right? Too much of heat that is trapped inside the lower layers of the crust, right? How the heat is seeping out of it to the open atmosphere. Open atmosphere means above anything crust, right? That is called as an atmosphere. How it is seeping out of it. So by recording these disturbances, this InSight land rover, whatever information it will send back through these three informations they want to get by the NASA. And till now, what are the detections of the Mars with respect to quakes? Till now, you can see almost more than 1,300 Mars quakes were recognized, observed, detected by this particular lander. But the specific thing is, on the May 4th, the beginning of this month, the Mars lander, this InSight lander detected largest quake. Largest quake means intensity was very high, and intensity was very high observed ever on another planet. So there is a lot of planets. The different space agencies is recording whether there was any quake is happening, but the on the compared to the earthquakes in any other planet, the largest quake, that means the intensity is high, detected, it is the largest, was detected on the Mars by the Mars InSight lander on in the beginning of the May month. Now, why do Mars quake do happen? So first see the composition of the Mars crust. But before to understand the Mars crust composition, that means down layers, the first we'll see the earthquake. Why? How do earthquake happens? So as we know that Earth is that you can see that it is divided into the different layers. The different layers you can see broadly. One is crust, another one is the outer core, another one is inner core. So the crust you can see here from here to here. Again, crust is divided into multi-layers, right? In these multi-layers, you can see that here from bottom, this is called as a mantle, right? These two are two different types of mantles. Again, here, this is asthenosphere, this red color asthenosphere. And from top to this, the layer of this asthenosphere up to here, right? This is called as a lithosphere, right? So you can see that there is a division on the layer, into different layers of the total earth crust up to its center. Up to its center, it is the center. So this division in the form of layers means each layer will have different materials, different composition, different the forms. Sometimes complete solid form, sometimes liquid form, sometimes semi liquid form, complete solid form. So because of these different properties, the total lay here the earth, from the surface to the center of the earth, everything is all of them are divided into different layers. So that is what we mean by a layer. Layer means material is different, composition is different, the the material properties is different, liquid, solid, semi-solid, semi-liquid. Because of it, the one layer will have distinction with the another layer. Okay, that is meant by the layer. So all these the total earth crust, the what we see, the total phenomena of earthquakes, the total disturbances are happening only in this lithosphere. So the total concern, what what's happening on the quakes level, that it is the disturbances inside the earth crust. All those disturbances, you can see that many of them are all of them are originating in the top layers of the earth only, that is lithosphere. Okay, so how these the top layers are divided? Okay, how these top layers are divided from the surface of the earth? You can see that the total earth surface, the lithosphere is divided into different plates. So those plates we do call it as tectonic plates. The tectonic plates, you can see that this plate is something from the top, from the surface to the up to almost 100 kilometers. This lithosphere is something 100 kilometers thick. Okay, and from top to this lithosphere, this is the up to the 100 kilometers, that we call it as a lithosphere, and that is called as a plate. And that means from the surface to the up to 100 kilometers, there is one thick plane of rock. Okay, so one thick rock will have again different layers in it. Again, you can see that, as you can see the different layers, this is one layer, this is one layer, and this is another layer. Okay, and astrosphere another layer. Okay, so different layers are there in the given lithosphere, but this is all generally considered as a one single plate. Okay, from top to bottom, depth wise, this is one single plate. But with respect to expanse on the surface, what is the length of this particular plate? So do all the earth is composed of single plate? No, it is broken down into multiple plates. On the surface, it is broken down into multiple plates. Up to this division is from surface to up to 100 kilometers down the line. That is called line of lithosphere. Okay, up to here, whatever crack is there here, what we are looking at in the other image, it is there from top to bottom. Okay, so that is called as, you can see here, the total earth crust is divided into number of plates. Okay, so how many plates are there? You can see that there are 7 major plates, there are smaller plates. Major plates mean we can see that all this particular total space is one single plate. Again, this is one single plate. Again, you can see that this is complete one single plate, no divisions, one single plate, one single plate, and this is another single plate. And you can see again, this is Pacific plate, one single plate. Okay, remaining all of them are minor plates. So all these are major plates, remaining all are minor plates. Minor, you can see Indian plate is also minor plate, Arabian plate is also minor plate, Philippine plate, right? These are all plates. So plate means divisions in the earth crust from the surface to the up to almost 100 kilometers down the depth is called as a plate. Okay, when these are separated, when these are these are broken down into different plates, then definitely you can see that the problem that creates is asthenosphere. Asthenosphere is almost in a molten form. That means in the semi-liquid form. As it is in semi-liquid form, too much of heat is being generated, trapped inside the earth, and then because of the heat, electromagnetism, electromagnetism means polarity. Polarity will be created, negative and positive, for any of the material that is there in the asthenosphere. Because of all these things, a dynamic force will be created, will be started in the asthenosphere. That means material in the asthenosphere will start moving because of these so many indirect forces, because of these direct forces. And when the asthenosphere is moving, the rock which is there, the particular the plate that which is resting on the asthenosphere will also be moving. And these rocks are not one continuous rock, as we had seen, broken down into multiple plates, right? So as we had broken down into multiple plates, and there is a momentum that is created in the asthenosphere, right? And because of it, what happens is that these plates are regularly do colliding with each other. So whenever there is a collision, there is a quake. That will be, those waves will be reached to the surface. Whenever these sometimes they do rupture with each other, again there is a quake. Sometimes what happens is, inside the same plate, the top layers of the rock will be creating too much weight on the down layers. Until the time the down layers could be able to withstand the pressure created by the top layer, the rock will be stagnant. But when the lower the lower rocks, when they start giving up that we could not able to bear you, then there will be pressure, again there will be implosion inside the given plate. Okay, that is only limited to the given region only. It doesn't create a fracture from top to the up to lithosphere. It only creates a kind of the fracture only in that sphere, because upper rocks putting a lot of pressure on the lower rocks, sometimes lower rocks will break down, and because of it you can see stress and strain, the energies will release. So inside a plate also there might be cracks and quakes, and there will also, you can see it as earthquake that can be observed on the earth surface, right? So that is the phenomena that we generally see with respect to earth. It is because plates are broken down and asthenosphere continuously moving it, and because of it plates are regularly interacting. Sometimes in a plate itself there is a breakdown, top layers is falling down on the lower layers, and because of it stress and strain energy will be released, right? Stress is something, a pressure is applied. Strain is something, once till the time pressure is maintained, once the lower rocks given up, then you can see that whatever energy they were holding, they will be released, right? That is called a strain, strain energy. Okay, so you can see here, how does Marsquake do happen? what is the composition of the Mars crust? So the Earth crust is divided into plates, but like the Earth crust is divided into plates, Mars, the crust is not divided into plates. So that means there are no tectonic plates on the Mars surface. In the Mars crust, there are no tectonic plates. It is a continuous plate. Okay, but inside of it also there might be astrosphere, but the top layer you do not see that from top to up to 100 kilometers like on the Earth. Lithosphere is broken down into different plates. There is no such breakage. This is continuous one tectonic plate. If there is one tectonic plate, how can these quakes occur? As I told you, in the Earth surface also, in the Earth crust also, in one tectonic plate there might be stress and strain energy inside a plate. Likewise here also, in the crust there might be sometimes the upper layers putting a lot of pressure on the down layers. There may be internal breakage. Okay, this is something you can see that here, that the total layers is, there is a crack here because the pressure created by this rock could not able to maintained by this particular the footwall, and because of it you can see there is a crack. Okay, so this crack is only temporary phenomena, and at the crack space you can see that energy is being released in all the directions. Energy is being released in all the direction. So this is what is being recognized by the lander which is there on the surface of the given Mars surface is being recognized. Okay, so the quakes that are occurring in the Mars, it is not because of the movement of the plates, it is merely because of the stress and strain energy of the layers of the rocks. Okay, layers of the total Mars crust. And whenever there is fault in these layers, okay, fault means anything the breakage happening between these layers, that is called as a fault, and that fault will release the stress energy, and that is what is being, the strain energy is being recorded by the seismograph that is there in the added in the given InSight lander. Okay, next, what are the findings? What is the NASA aim through this InSight land rover? The point here is the total scientists are puzzled to know what is the origin of Earth, what is the origin of the total solar system. So related in finding answers for this origin of the solar system or galaxy, origin of the total Earth, and evolution of the Earth, okay, atmosphere and the all the phenomena, it is trying to find a different answer. So many, all the physics and the different space program are centered, the research is oriented towards this direction, so that if you know the answers, then for the future consequences human civilization can be ready. So that is why the total physics is, majority of the physics is the trying to find answers for these geological questions. And specifically you can see why only Mars here. Why only Mars is that if you see the similarities like Earth, the Mars is also have a solid Earth crust. Okay, so it is not a gaseous planet. It is a the crust based the planet. So another thing is, like Earth, Mars also have atmosphere. Atmosphere means now you can see that the from surface of the Earth to up to almost 10 kilometers to the upper layers of the atmosphere, we have different the gases are trapped here, and this atmosphere is very thick, and because of this atmosphere is thick, heat is trapped here. Whatever we are receiving from the sun at the surface is absorbed by the Earth crust, and it is being released in the long wavelength form, right? And it is being trapped, sometime it is being holded in the down layers of the Earth, and that is being holded in the down layers of the Earth. It is actually creating different habitable, so the environment for this civil life to thrive. So likewise Mars also have an atmosphere on the surface of the Mars crust, compared to other planets which does not have any atmosphere. Okay, so that is why there is a similarities between the Earth atmosphere and the Mars atmosphere. So looking at the similarities, and also evolution, up to you can see that 3 to 4 billion years ago, okay, in the evolution of the solar system, Mars and Earth had the same journey. Same journey means with respect to the composition of the Earth atmosphere. The atmosphere of the both are warm. Wet means there is the water. Warm means it is like room temperature that we call here, and so thick atmospheres. And without atmosphere you cannot trap heat, and no planet can absorb living being can directly feel heat that is being coming from the sun. Okay, heat that is being released from the sun, no living being can perceive it. Whatever the heat that we are feeling is earth crust, any crust do absorb the solar radiation that is coming from the sun in the short wavelength. Short wavelengths will not affect the humans or any living beings. After absorbing the by the earth's crust, again it will re-releases it. And by releasing in the, when they're releasing in the earth crust is releasing that heat that is absorbed previously, it will release in the long wavelength form. That long wavelength heat is what we are feeling it. If there is an atmosphere, this will be readily escaped all the way to the top layers of the atmosphere. Okay, upper layers of the atmosphere like tropopause, stratosphere. But if it is escaping means it is not possible to keep the lower layers of the the surface as warm. Unless there is a warm climate, you cannot see that vegetation possible. Life may be possible, but vegetation is not possible. Okay, so that is why for warm climate, thick atmosphere in the down layers of the atmosphere or maybe on the surface of the earth is very much necessary. Okay, so that it can trap heat for some time. It cannot keep all the time. It can keep some time and it will releases new energy, new radiation being released by the earth. So it is a continuous phenomena. That is what we call the heat budget. Okay, this is a topic that we read it in the form of the geography. So these are very much necessary. Unless water, life cannot survive. Any living being life cannot survive, either plant or maybe any animal. And unless it is warm, animal plant life cannot be made possible, right? Clear. So that is why till 3 to 4 billion years ago, with respect to these characteristics, both the earth had the same similar characteristic. But then Mars stopped changing. It completely stopped its evolution. But earth started continued to evolve. And after that, a billion years ago, a life started originated on the earth's surface. And the consequence is that we can see that the total earth is inhabited with the living beings like human, non-humans, trees, right? All the plants, that is. So why Mars stopped changing, right? So this is what is actually the insight, through this seismograph recordings, the NASA wanted to analyze why it is changed, right? And need to specifically see what is the characteristic of the Mars atmosphere, right? So Mars atmosphere, as you can see, Earth atmosphere is almost thick by almost 1000 LMs, but the Mars atmosphere is thick by only 7 LMs. So that means it is not enough to trap the radiation being released by the Mars crust. Okay, so but even then, the guess here is whether there is any characteristics which will support life, whether at all there is life existence on the Mars in any particular colonies, if not everywhere like in on the earth, any specific colonies, any supporting life. It is not about humans or maybe aliens. It can be any life. It can be a tree, it can be any animal, any life at all exists on the Mars surface, right? That is what they want to know, right? And the more important thing is that the possibility that atmosphere Mars, warm enough. Warm enough means here there is, we can see the thickness is almost 7 LMs. So this, is enough to keep warm. Okay. And another thing is, it was warm, warm once upon a time in the past. Once upon a time in the past. So when there was warmness, it might have allowed water also to flow through its surface, on the surface of the Mars. As some of the photos released by the other space agencies, there is a clear proof that water is flown in the given region. Because of, you can see that there is a dried stream path. So that's why the scientists are curious whether water was existent once upon a time on the surface of the Mars, because there is signs of water flown on the given surface, right? So if water is flown means the NASA, the questions, the scientist question here is, almost everywhere we find water on the earth, and wherever there is water on the earth, you can find life. So that means existence of life is intrinsically linked to the presence of water. So that means if you could able to identify whether water is exist in the Mars on the surface, if not surface, right? In the down layers also, you can see the water is not available only on that surface. Even the down layers also, water layer, water is available, right? So that water is available, that is why you can see that through by digging wells, by digging bore wells, we could able to pump that water, right? So water availability not only in the surface of the the earth's surface, it is also on the down layers of that surface. So likewise, whether there is a possibility that previously there was water existence on the water, water bodies were exist on the surface of the Mars, maybe those were dried now, whether at all in the down layers, of the Mars crust, whether water layers are existent or not. If it is existent, then there is high possibility that there is a microbial life was also existent. And even now also there might be chances that in special regions life might be exist. So because of through all these things, what these different space agencies are trying to do with Mars is whether we could inhabit human civilizations on the Mars. Okay, because the population is exploding continuously, there might be in the future there will be scarcity for the the land. So to face, to be ready for that situation, the space agencies are trying to find whether other planets do suit to for the human civilizations to survive, so that some of the human civilization, humans can be transport shifted to the another planet. Okay, that is the larger object, that whether humans can inhabit the Mars or not. To inhabit, we need enough environmental condition which will support the life. So that's why first they are looking at the traces of life existence or not. Okay, that is the importance and relevance or the objective of this InSight lander. The next thing is, what are the other expeditions made to the Mars by other countries space agencies or maybe by the NASA? You can see in 2020 the three space agencies launched different things towards Mars only. Okay, one is UAE, that is called as a probe. This is a space probe, means it doesn't go, doesn't land on the surface of the Mars Earth, but it is circulating on the space, the upper layers of the atmosphere in the Mars. So that is the, what is the purpose, why it is orbiting around the Mars. It is wants to study the planet's weather cycles. It is the objective launched by this particular country, whether it is a lander or space probe. It is a space probe. What is the name of it? Oh, likewise, next, NASA. Again, NASA launched one more thing, that is the Perseverance rover. This is sometimes it is called as, this is not a lander, but this is apart from lander, this is rover. What does it mean by rover? After landing on the given surface, whether given the particular space exploration element, whether it can move or not. Here you can see that there are wheels. So there are wheels means you can literally remote control the manage the movement of the given particular spacecraft, okay, which is landed. So to land you need a lander, and after landing it you need these kind of the movement based wheels so that it can move. So anything that can move is a spacecraft, that is called as a rover. Okay, so this rover job is to collect rock samples in different regions, and by collecting these rock samples they need to automatically these rock samples will be trapped inside a secure the capsules which are inserted in the Perseverance rover, so that one day, maybe in 2030, NASA is planning to collect back those samples, right, collected in different periods of time and different at different places on the NASA surface. They wanted to get them back onto the surface of the Earth, so that to read what is the composition of the rocks. Okay, that is Perseverance rover, which can move. Apart from landing, it can move. Next thing is, China also landed, China also launched something called as a rover, that is called as Jurong rover. Jurong rover. So this is the second country in the world to launch a rover successfully on the Mars surface after the NASA, that is US. Okay, so what it wants to study? Local geology, that means about the rocks, chemical composition of the rocks, weather conditions. By using, there are 6 different scientific instruments they arranged on it. Okay, clear? So that is the with respect to the space, the China's one. Okay, that is China's rover. So this is second country. Next thing is the what India, whether India had done anything. India in 2014, the ISRO has launched one of the Mars orbiter. This is a space probe. This is a space probe. This is not a lander, neither a rover. Okay, this is a space probe which is orbiting the around the Mars. Okay, and the uniqueness of this is India is the first Asian country to launch a space probe. And also, this is the first time a country has launched a space probe, a spacecraft launched to another planet. And in the first expedition itself, it becomes successful. All other countries, first expeditions are failed, but India's space expedition is successful, first time itself. And that too, we could able to do this with a less amount of money. Okay, the budget that we allocated on this Mars orbiter mission is very much lower compared to any other space agency's previous expedition. So that is the uniqueness of Indian space, the ISRO's the exploration or maybe the interplanetary trip towards another planet. Okay, that is specifically towards Mars. Okay, clear. So this is the end of this topic.